Keywords can be an invaluable tool when it comes to managing your images. Keywords can be particularly helpful when you're trying to find a specific image. In this lesson, we'll take a look at the various ways Lightroom allows you to assign keywords to your images. Before you actually get started working with keywords, you should probably spend some time thinking about a strategy for the keywords you'll use. I've seen many photographers put a great deal of time into assigning keywords to their images, only to later discover that they didn't assign keywords that would have proven helpful. Obviously, you'll include keywords that relate to the location the image was captured or the subject matter, but you might also want to consider keywords that relate to other attributes. These might include things such as an indication of the sentiment of the photo, such as dramatic or energetic, as well as other considerations such as the dominant color in the image. After viewing this lesson, you'll have a better sense of exactly how you can assign keywords, and you'll probably start to appreciate some of the additional keywords you'll want to keep in mind when working with your images. Hopefully by the time you're working with your images in Lightroom, you've already assigned keywords to most of those images. That's because when you actually import images, there's an option to apply keywords during that import process. Simply enter keywords in the field available on the right side of the import dialog. Another option once you've actually imported images is to use the grid view and then use the painter tool to assign keywords to your images. Simply click on the painter tool and then choose keywords from the pop-up and type in the keyword values you'd like to assign. You can then click on an image to assign a keyword, or even click and drag across multiple images to assign keywords to all of those images. But in this case, we're going to focus our attention on the more powerful tools found on the right panel of the library module, so I'll put the painter away and switch back to the loop view. I'll then move to the right panel and scroll down to the keywording pane. By default, the keyword tags option is set to enter keywords. This means you're able to actually assign keywords directly within this text box. By default, keywords are separated with commas, so you could add to the list of keywords by placing a comma and typing additional keywords. For example, this bird is feeding, and so I might type feeding as one of my keywords. I can also take advantage of hierarchical keywords when I'm assigning keywords to an image. As you'll see, this can make the process of assigning complex keywords very easy. For example, this bird happens to be a snowy egret, so I could type snowy egret as the bird's name. I can then type a right arrow and type bird. This indicates that the snowy egret is a bird. I can then continue typing and put, for example, animal. This indicates that this is a snowy egret, which is a bird, which is an animal. I'll press enter to apply these keywords to the image. Notice that only snowy egret is displayed at the moment, because that's part of a keyword hierarchy. To show you one of the key benefits of using hierarchical keywords, I'm going to switch to another image of the same type of bird, a snowy egret. I'll go to the keywords and type snowy egret. Notice that because I have autocomplete turned on, Lightroom is suggesting which keyword I might want to use. I can simply press enter to accept that suggestion. Then I'll press enter one more time to assign the keyword to this image. Now once again, we only see snowy egret, but this is part of a keyword hierarchy. So if I choose from the pop-up keywords and containing keywords, it will show me all of the keywords that are actually being used for this image. That includes snowy egret, animal, and bird. If I choose will export from the pop-up, I'll see the keywords as they will be exported with this image if I were to export it from Lightroom. In that case, it would be a simple list of the keywords contained in the image without an indication of the keyword hierarchy. As I'm working on assigning keywords to an image, there are also additional options available to me. Note that when I'm using the will export or keywords and containing keywords option, I'm not able to edit the keywords directly. However, I can enter additional keywords for this image by clicking in the text box below and typing that keyword. When I press enter, the keyword will be assigned to the image. Of course, there are better ways to assign keywords to your images than typing them each time. If we scroll down, we can see the keyword suggestions. If you'd like to assign one of these keywords to your image, you can simply click on it. We also have keyword sets, which are customizable. In this case, it's showing me some recently used keywords, but I can also create my own set by choosing Edit Set from the pop-up. Simply enter keywords into the text boxes available and then choose Save Current Settings as New Preset from the pop-up. You can type a name for that preset and click Create. In this case, I'll simply cancel since I've not updated the keywords that are shown here. But I could click Change to change the current set to these options. In addition, if I've created any sets, they'll be available from the list here. This can be very helpful for photographers who deal with different types of images. For example, if you do both landscape photography and portrait photography, you'll likely use different keywords for different types of images. We can also use the keyword list to add or remove keywords for an image. This list shows us the keywords that have been entered and how many images have each of these keywords assigned to them. You can add a keyword to an image by clicking the checkbox to the left of that keyword, or remove the keyword by turning the checkbox off. Notice that because I've created hierarchical keywords, I also have the option to expand or collapse each keyword hierarchy. Keep in mind that in the case of hierarchical keywords, if I add a top-level keyword, the underlying keywords will also be added automatically. I can then turn on any of those keywords individually as desired. As you continue to assign more and more keywords to your images, the list of keywords will get quite long. You can filter the keywords by clicking in the box at the top and typing a value. For example, I'll type bird and you can see that I have the hierarchical keyword for bird as well as individual keywords for bird and birds. Clicking the X will clear the search term so that you're back to seeing all of the available keywords. You can also add or remove keywords at any time. For example, I'll click the plus to bring up the Create Keyword Tag dialog. I can then type the keyword name. For example, this image was captured in the morning, so perhaps I want to use morning as a keyword. I can also type synonyms. For example, if I assign the keyword morning, I might want to put early as a keyword as well. When you create a keyword tag, you also have the option as to whether you want the keyword to be included upon export of your images, whether you want to export the containing keywords in the case of a keyword hierarchy, and whether you want the synonyms to be included when you export the image. You also have the option to place this keyword tag inside of the currently selected keyword tag. This allows you to build a hierarchical keyword while you're creating this keyword tag. In this case, morning is not part of birds, and so I will turn this checkbox off. You can also turn on the checkbox to add this keyword to the selected photos. In other words, I could select multiple images before I add the keyword and then automatically have that keyword added to those selected images. I'll go ahead and click Create, and as you can see when I scroll down, the morning keyword has been added to this list of keywords and is also included as a keyword for this image. If at any time you decide you want to delete a keyword, you can click on the keyword you want to get rid of and click the minus symbol up at the top of the keyword list pane. When you do so, you'll receive a warning indicating how many images this keyword has already been assigned to. So you'll want to give this careful thought before you remove the keyword. In this case, obviously, with over 5,000 images that contain the Florida keyword, I don't want to delete, so I'll click Cancel. At the bottom of the right panel, we also have options for automatically synchronizing keywords for our images when we're entering keywords. I'll scroll back up to the keywording pane and choose Enter Keywords from the list. I'll then scroll across my film strip so that I can choose some images that I want to assign additional keywords to. In this case, the bird is a great blue heron, so I'll type great blue heron in the list of keywords. Now, of course, I captured more than just one image of a great blue heron. In fact, there's another great blue heron directly to the right of the first image on the film strip. So I'm going to shift-click on that second image so that both of these images of the great blue heron are currently selected. I'll then click the Sync button so that I can synchronize the keywords among these two images. When I click Sync, the Synchronize Metadata dialog will appear. I can scroll to the bottom of the list and make sure Keywords is turned on. I can update the list of keywords here if I'd like to, but at the moment these keywords are all that I need to assign. I can then click Synchronize and the keywords will be added for both of these images. Notice as I click on one image or the other, they both now have the same keywords. I can also have Lightroom automatically synchronize my keywords for me. For example, here's 3 images of a burrowing owl. I've selected all 3, and now I can turn on the automatic sync option. When I do so, the button becomes an auto sync button. That will allow me to bring up the Synchronize Metadata dialog again. But in this case, I don't actually need to use the dialog. With auto sync turned on, if I go type an additional keyword value for these selected images, they will all be updated automatically. Normally, only the image that is primarily selected, meaning the one that will show up in the loop display even when you have multiple images selected, will be updated when you type new keywords. But with auto sync turned on, if I type a new keyword, for example, burrowing owl, the keywords for all of these images will be updated at the same time. So now I can click on each of these images individually, and as you can see, they all have the burrowing owl keyword. As you can see, while I could assign keywords individually to each of my images, in most cases it's more helpful to select multiple images and synchronize keywords among those selected images. While not all photographers necessarily need to put keywords to use in their digital photography workflow, Lightroom provides such helpful options for adding keywords that all photographers should probably at least consider putting them to use to keep their images as organized as possible.